She thought this was her fresh start. But in just one moment, everything shattered. Under bright lights, in front of a full crowd, she faced what people are calling the coldest, most humiliating rejection of the year. But the real shock came later when a leaked voice note suggested it might have all been planned from the start. The question is, was Chrisean Rock just a victim, or has she been playing her own game all along? Chrisean Rock has weathered her share of public drama, but what unfolded this past weekend was on an entirely different level. This was not just an uncomfortable moment, it was a public spectacle of pure humiliation. The scene played out under bright lights, in front of rolling cameras, a live audience, and countless fans who were stunned into silence by what they witnessed. Recently, she had been in the headlines for what seemed like a new chapter in her life, moving forward, embracing a fresh start with a new boyfriend who appeared to be everything her past was not. It looked promising. She even revealed in a video that she had been with him, and his social media post after all the chaos with Blueface had seemed to confirm their connection. But in one swift and shocking turn, that promise crumbled. At an event where she expected support, he delivered something she never imagined: a public dismissal so cold and unexpected that those in the room are already calling it one of the harshest rejections they have ever seen. This was not just a slip-up, it was the kind of moment so painfully awkward that social media cannot stop replaying it. Frame by frame, like a slow-motion wreck you cannot look away from, the internet is split down the middle. Some fans are rallying behind her with empathy, while others are shaking their heads in disbelief. Meanwhile, critics are reveling in the drama. What makes it sting even more is that this was no spur-of-the-moment misunderstanding. Insiders claim it was the climax of tension that had been quietly building for weeks. There is evidence, screenshots, messages, and whispers that suggest this public snub was not as sudden as it appeared. And when you hear what her new man actually said, along with the surprising people he has been in contact with, the reason behind Chrisean's stunned reaction becomes painfully clear. To truly grasp why this cuts so deep and why it has become the only topic in her circle, you have to rewind to just a few weeks earlier, back to when her fresh start was meant to be the beginning of something better. After months of messy, back-and-forth headlines with Blueface, Chrisean finally seemed to be signaling that she was ready to turn the page. Her Instagram feed began filling with cryptic captions about peace, better energy, and fresh beginnings. Then came the photos, dinner snapshots with a tall, clean-cut man the internet could not immediately place. Within hours, fans went full detective mode, uncovering his name, career, and even old social media profiles. The online story took shape fast. This was not another industry fling. He was said to be a businessman, far removed from the chaos of the music scene, and, by Chrisean's own admission, unlike anyone she had ever dated. People close to her painted an even rosier picture. He opened doors for her, encouraged her goals, and treated her with genuine respect. Public excitement grew after they were spotted courtside at a charity basketball game, his arm draped casually around her as they laughed and smiled. Fans flooded the comments with praise, writing things like, "Finally, she found a real one, and this is the glow-up we've been waiting for." But behind the scenes, the perfect picture was already showing cracks. A friend confided to a gossip blog that her new man was struggling with the attention that came with dating her, paparazzi trailing them to lunch, strangers yelling her name on the street. He was not used to that level of public intrusion, and it showed. Then there was his social media behavior. Fans noticed he rarely liked her posts, even when she tagged him directly. Yet screenshots began circulating of him liking and, in some cases, commenting on other women's pictures. Chrisean initially brushed it off, telling her followers not to buy into online drama, but the tension was quietly building. Some fans pointed out she seemed more reserved when he was around, less playful on live streams, almost as if she was working hard to keep up an image of perfection. The real test came when they were invited to a high-profile private event attended by music executives, influencers, and athletes. It was meant to be her big moment to show off her new man and silence those saying the relationship would not last. In the days leading up, she teased their appearance with confident captions like, "Wait till y'all see who I'm stepping out with," and power couple energy. Hype was high. Fans expected red carpet photos and affectionate moments that would dominate headlines. Instead, what happened inside flipped the narrative completely. Multiple witnesses described the atmosphere shifting in an instant, a public snub so sharp it seemed to drop the temperature in the room. Even before the defining moment, there were warning signs. He arrived separately, avoided group photos, and spent more time scrolling on his phone than engaging with people she introduced him to. Chrisean, ever the entertainer, tried to keep her energy up, laughing and mingling, but her eyes kept darting toward him. And then came the scene now. A viral clip that changed everything. Cameras caught it from every angle, and no matter which clip you watch, the story plays out the same: a moment of raw humiliation in front of a full audience. It is the reason Chrisean Rock's name dominated trending lists all night, with her supporters split between demanding answers and urging her to walk away for good. The evening had been electric: champagne glasses clinking, cameras flashing, conversations drifting from business deals to celebrity gossip. Chrisean, radiant in a silver gown that reflected every spotlight, worked the room with charm. Yet, beneath the shimmer, her attention kept sliding back to her new boyfriend. He was not mingling, not smiling, not even standing beside her. Instead, he hovered at the back of the venue, scrolling through his phone and offering half-hearted replies to anyone who tried to make conversation. People noticed, and they noticed in the worst way. One guest said Chrisean eventually crossed the room, gently touching his arm and speaking softly. He nodded without looking up, and something in her expression shifted. Then the MC announced, a light-hearted tradition. Couples were invited to the dance floor for a brief spotlight moment. It was meant to be fun, a chance for photographers to capture sweet images of high-profile pairs. Chrisean turned to him with a bright smile, gesturing for him to join her. That is when it happened. He shook his head, not teasingly, not bashfully, but with a firm and unmistakable no, punctuated by a casual wave of his hand. The music played on as other couples headed to the center of the room. Chrisean paused, waiting for him to change his mind, but instead, he stepped back, lifted his drink, and turned toward another group. Cameras caught everything: the falter in her smile, the instant she realized he was not coming. Whispering rippled through the crowd. One witness later described it as watching someone get left hanging in front of the entire school assembly. Chrisean, determined to save face, walked to the dance floor alone, head held high. But as she passed a group of influencers, one voice, loud enough for nearby cameras to record, quipped, "Guess he's not feeling it." The clip exploded. Online, millions of views, countless memes, endless reaction videos, and that was only the beginning. Midway through the event, while she was still inside, another twist hit social media. Screenshots began circulating, allegedly showing her boyfriend in a direct message exchange with another woman earlier that very day. The messages were not overtly romantic, but were flirtatious enough to cause a storm. The woman claimed he had been checking in on her regularly for weeks, even while appearing publicly with Chrisean. The timing could not have been worse. By the time she left the venue, #he played her was trending alongside her name. Some defended her, calling for privacy and grace. Others were ruthless, labeling it karma for her past relationship choices. Then came the night's final blow: a shaky TikTok video posted from an anonymous account, supposedly filmed at the bar during the event. In it, Chrisean's boyfriend is seen talking to a small group, one of whom appears to recognize someone linked to the DM scandal. The second that connection clicked, speculation exploded. Some insisted it was a coincidence. Others were certain Jaden, her known rival, was aware of the DMs long before they went public, possibly even helping to leak them. One viral comment read, "If Jaden liked this instantly, someone sent it to her. You don't see things that fast unless it's fed to you." Adding fuel to the fire, a well-known gossip blogger claimed on Instagram Live that the woman in the DMs was a friend of Jaden's, and that just last week, the two had been spotted together at a birthday dinner for a mutual acquaintance. That revelation sent the internet spiraling into full conspiracy mode. Fans began asking the same question: was Jaden quietly pulling strings to humiliate Chrisean in the most public way possible? By the next afternoon, a grainy video from that birthday dinner leaked online. Though blurry, it was just clear enough to show Jaden seated beside a woman who looked almost identical to the mysterious figure from the DM screenshots. To the online crowd, no confirmation was necessary. In their minds, the pieces already fit. Meanwhile, Chrisean's boyfriend did little to help himself. Instead of addressing the chaos or showing her public support, he posted an Instagram story from the gym, captioned, "I'm focused," alongside a flexing emoji and a clip of him lifting weights. No mention of Chrisean, no reference to the growing backlash. Fans called it arrogance in plain sight, especially when, less than an hour later, he liked a post from a lifestyle influencer who just happened to be a close friend of Jaden's. Comment sections turned savage. Under his recent posts, people tagged Chrisean with messages like, "Girl, run, and this is not the fresh start you think it is." On Twitter, hashtag he single quotes SAPL ant began trending, with theories that he had never been interested in her romantically, and had gotten close only to create drama that benefited her rivals. Then came the real shocker. Late that night, a gossip page received an anonymous voice note, muffled but clearly intelligible conversation between two women. One voice was instantly recognized as Jaden's, the other was allegedly the woman from the DMS in the recording. The second woman laughed, saying she thought she was going to stunt with him and that we already knew how to play it. Jaden's reply made the internet freeze. "Yeah, but make sure you get that on video next time." If genuine, it meant the humiliation was not accidental, it was a calculated setup designed for maximum impact. Gossip blogs exploded, dissecting the clip, arguing over whether it was authentic or fabricated, and comparing vocal patterns with old videos. Chrisean stayed silent, but fans noticed she quietly deleted several recent photos of her and her boyfriend from Instagram. Still, one piece of the puzzle remained unsolved: whether he had been complicit. An anonymous source claimed to have seen him speaking privately with Jaden's friend at the event just before the infamous dance floor rejection. If true, the entire evening might have been orchestrated. By Monday morning, the story had escalated into a social media war. The voice note was everywhere, on TikTok gossip accounts, YouTube reaction videos, and Instagram lives, amassing hundreds of thousands of views overnight. Unlike her past scandals, this time public opinion was sharply divided. Loyal fans rallied, flooding her posts with messages like, "You don't deserve this, Queen, and they've been plotting, but you always bounce back stronger." Critics, however, mocked her, saying, "This is what happens when you make your love life a public spectacle." Celebrity commentary only fueled the flames. Young Miami went live, cautioning viewers, "Some of these men y'all think are real, they're just playing roles. Stop letting them in your circle." The chat immediately erupted with tags to Chrisean and Blueface. Predictably, himself could not resist chiming in, tweeting and then deleting, "Told y'all, she can't pick him." That single jab birthed a flood of memes and accusations that he was secretly enjoying her downfall. Even influencers took sides. One LA blogger claimed she had overheard a conversation between Jaden and Chrisean's man at the event, while others accused her of chasing clout. Brands linked to Chrisean stayed quiet, but a leaked email thread suggested at least one sponsor was monitoring the situation to decide whether to move forward with a campaign. That hint alone had fans worried the fallout could cost her more than pride. Twitter threads dissected the timeline in forensic details, syncing the dance floor clip with the DM leak and Jaden's laugh from the voice note. Some even posted side-by-side videos, claiming the audio proved communication between the two that night. Then, in an unexpected twist, the woman from the DMS broke her silence. On her close friend's Instagram story, she posted a blurry selfie, with the caption, "Since y'all want to make me the villain, you don't even know half the story." Screenshots leaked instantly, leaving everyone wondering what the missing half might be. Mainstream blogs finally jumped in. Hollywood Unlocked ran the headline, "Was Chrisean Rock set up?" with a full breakdown that drew millions of views. Through it all, Chrisean remained completely silent. No lives, no posts, no interviews. For someone known for speaking her mind, the blackout was deafening. By Tuesday afternoon, the silence had fans demanding answers. One viral tweet summed it up: "If this was all a setup, name names. If it wasn't, own it and move on." But the silence is making it worse. That wound was far deeper than any physical injury, the kind that no amount of commissary money, comforting words, or prison favors could ever mend, because it cut straight to the soul of betrayal from the very person who was supposed to protect him. Abdul Sr., worn down by years of stress and the crushing weight of survival, made the unthinkable decision to strike a deal with federal prosecutors, trading his own son's freedom for his own chance to escape a longer sentence. When he stepped into the courtroom that day, his shoulders sagged under the knowledge of the irreversible line he was about to cross. And yet, when the prosecutor asked the question that would ultimately condemn his son, he did not hesitate, did not waver, and did not even allow a pause for the gravity of the moment to settle in. His voice was steady, almost detached, as if he had already made peace with the choice long before he walked through those doors. But behind his eyes there was the undeniable shadow of a man who knew he was shattering a bond that could never be rebuilt. For Queso, sitting there and watching it unfold, the truth hit like a freight train. The man on the stand was not just another witness. He was his own father, his own blood, and yet, in that instant, he became the executioner of his future. The courtroom air grew heavy, each word from Abdul Sr.'s mouth slicing deeper, stripping away whatever hope might have been left. It was more than a legal defeat, it was a spiritual and emotional collapse. The kind of moment that rewrites a person's entire understanding of loyalty, family, and love. The cold reality was that survival, when pushed to the edge, can force a man to do the unthinkable. And in this case, it had turned father against son in a way that would echo far beyond the walls of that courtroom. It turns out the woman from those infamous DMs and T aren't strangers at all. They go way back. Old photos began circulating, showing them at the same parties over the years, smiling in group shots like old friends. That revelation rewrote the entire narrative. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Jaden and the DM woman. A third name had entered the equation, and T's role was now under the microscope. If T really was in on this, his sudden late-night appearance, alongside Chrisean, wasn't just a casual coincidence, it was a calculated move, and in the eyes of the public, it boils down to two equally unsettling possibilities. Option 1. T is quietly slipping her information, feeding her just enough behind-the-scenes intel to eventually blow the whole scheme wide open. That would make him an unlikely ally in a story already crowded with shifting loyalties. But even if that's the case, the question becomes why. Is he genuinely trying to help her reclaim her narrative, or is he setting her up for yet another round of public drama under the guise of helping? Option 2 painted a far darker picture, one where T's closeness to Chrisean was not rooted in loyalty, but in quiet manipulation, a calculated effort to control what she knew, to filter the information reaching her, and perhaps even to ensure she never uncovered the full truth about the forces working against her. In this theory, T became less a friend and more a gatekeeper, an inside man strategically positioned to maintain the upper hand for whoever was truly pulling the strings, using his access to both observe her every move and subtly influence her responses without her realizing she was being steered. It was a role that cast him in a deeply suspicious light, adding another layer of tension to a situation already spiraling far beyond the realm of ordinary social media drama. That tension exploded into a storm the night they were spotted leaving a Los Angeles recording studio together, when flashing cameras and a swarm of paparazzi closed in, firing off questions that blended gossip with accusation. Then, in a moment that would ignite the internet, one voice rose above the rest, asking the question everyone online had been waiting to hear. Chrisean, was this all a setup? Chrisean, her hood pulled low, kept moving without so much as a glance toward the cameras, her silence reading to some as composure, and to others as avoidance. But while she walked on, T broke the moment's stillness with a single act of slow, deliberate smirk. It was not a broad smile or a burst of laughter, but something quieter, more loaded, an expression that seemed to suggest he knew more than he was saying. That subtle gesture, caught in crystal clarity by the paparazzi lenses, became the most dissected image of the night, fueling endless speculation over whether it signaled confidence, amusement, or the satisfaction of holding a secret, and in doing so, it transformed a fleeting sidewalk encounter into the centerpiece of a much larger and far more dangerous narrative. It wasn't long before that smirk became a cultural artifact of its own. Within hours, TikTok was flooded with frame-by-Annalise's Reddit threads spawned multiple conspiracy timelines dissecting every possible meaning. On live streams, people debated whether it was a wait-and-see expression hinting that the truth would eventually surface, or a "you'll never know" smirk, the kind that mocks the chaos without ever clearing it up. Meanwhile, Chrisean has remained completely silent. She hasn't addressed the voice note leak, the screenshots of the DMS, or the ice-cold rejection that set this entire chain reaction in motion. For someone known for speaking her mind, this blackout has been deafening, and that silence is starting to feel strategic. Now, with T firmly embedded in the unfolding drama, the entire situation has taken on a more intricate and far more dangerous shape. The once clear roles of friend, foe, and bystander are dissolving into a murky gray zone where loyalty is suspect and motives are anything but transparent. Is T the quiet protector, subtly working behind the scenes to help Chrisean navigate an ambush? Or is he the silent saboteur, a player whose proximity allows him to monitor, manipulate, or even misdirect her? Then there's the third possibility, the most unsettling one, that he's neither friend nor foe, but an opportunist who knows exactly how valuable it is to hover close to the fire without getting burned. At this point, the public can't pin him down. And that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the speculation alive. The story has shifted. It's no longer just about Chrisean, her love life, her public image, her reactions. The narrative has expanded into a sprawling network of characters and motives, each connection adding another layer of intrigue. The moment T stepped into the frame, the focus widened, and the drama stopped belonging to one person. Meanwhile, Chrisean's silence is becoming its own kind of weapon. In a media landscape where instant reactions are the norm, her refusal to speak fuels more questions than any statement could. Every day she remains quiet, she gives room for theories to evolve, for narratives to twist, and for her opponents, her allies, to move pieces on the board. Silence can be power, but it can also be dangerous when others are telling the story for you. And now comes the part that has the internet leaning forward in anticipation. The whispers of a second act. According to certain corners of the online gossip machine, what we've seen so far, the dance floor snub, the leaked DMIs, the voice note, and the late-night sighting, isn't the full play. It's just the prelude. The most humiliating twist, some claim, hasn't even hit the public yet. The patterns are too sharp to ignore. This isn't just a random sequence of embarrassing moments strung together by coincidence. The puzzle pieces don't merely connect, they overlap, stack, and interlock in ways that suggest a carefully orchestrated sequence. From the way information has been leaked, to the timing of public appearances, to the smirk that launched 1,000 conspiracy threads, the rhythm feels intentional. If there is a second act, it could flip the narrative entirely, turning the perceived victim into the aggressor, or unmasking unexpected alliances. And if that happens, T's role will either be vindicated or vilified, with no middle ground left. For now, the game is still in motion, and the players are keeping their next moves close to the chest. But one thing is certain, this is not the end. It's the calm before whatever storm Part 2 is about to unleash. The bigger question: is Chrisean truly a blindsided pawn in someone else's game, or has she been quietly playing her own? Because if T's connected to both the DM woman and Jaden, you have to ask why walk her out of a studio at 1 a.m. to help her, or to keep her in check. The internet is already bracing for the next chapter, and the rumors suggest it could flip every villain and victim label upside down. In Hollywood, the truth rarely plays out in front of the cameras, it's usually hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to step into the light.